Welcome back to day 14 of my 30-day security challenge. We have already built strong passwords, we added a password manager to your toolkit, but now we are going to add another layer of armor. This is called multi-factor authentication, or the newest passkeys. What's up, s'mores? I'm Shannon Morse, and this is the series where we make your digital life smarter, safer, and way more secure. Today we are going to make sure that even if somebody steals your passwords to your online accounts, they still cannot get in. Now, if you are following along, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next video. You can grab the full 30-day challenge checklist and the notes over at shannonrmorse.com. Now, in line with today's topic is the sponsor of today's video, which is Yubico. They recently released their 2025 Global State of Authentication report, and some of the stats are honestly a little bit of a wake-up call, so let's go ahead and dig in. Now, passwords alone are not enough anymore. Attackers phish them, they steal them in breaches, or they buy them on the dark web for pocket change. According to Yubico's 2025 survey, 62% of companies still rely mostly on usernames and passwords, even though we have known for years that's the weakest link. Another 44% still depend on SMS one-time codes, which can be hijacked with SIM swapping or spoofing attacks, and I'll go into that in a little bit more detail. Multi-factor authentication, aka MFA, adds a second lock or more locks on the door, something that you have or something you are. Even if somebody knows your password, they can't get in without those extra factors. But here's the kicker: 40% of employees have never received any kind of cybersecurity training, and half of them use personal accounts on work devices. Now that right there is going to be an attacker's dream. So yeah, MFA is not optional anymore, it is survival of the fittest. Step number 1, what is this multi-factor authentication thing I'm speaking of? Well, you have probably used MFA without even realizing it. It's a way to confirm that you are the one that is logging into your account, not somebody who just guessed your password. MFA is based on 2 or more things. 1 could be something you know, like your password. 2 could be something you have, like your phone, or in my case, a hardware key. Number 3 is something you are, some kind of biometrics, like your fingerprint or Face ID. Those are something that you are. And number 4, it could even be based on location as well. Now, a classic real-world example of this is using an ATM. Your card is something you have, and your PIN is something you know. Online, it works the same way. You type in your username and password, and then you confirm it with a code, an app notification, or a security key before logging in. Now, if a hacker steals your password, they can't get into your account without those extra factors. Step number 2, multi-factor authentication versus two-factor authentication. Now, multi-factor authentication, or MFA, just means 2 or more layers of verification. It's kind of like a mix of your password, your phone, or in my case, your hardware key, and biometrics like your fingerprint or your Face ID scan. 2FA specifically just means authentication that uses exactly 2 factors. So MFA is the broad terminology that we use to explain all those different options when you use them together, and 2FA is one of those types of MFA. Sometimes we use 2FA and MFA interchangeably whenever we refer to multiple factors of authentication, and to be kind of honest, I don't care which terminology you use, as long as you are adding something on top of your username and password. You can call it whatever you want, I don't care. For example, Clear at airports uses MFA, which is your ID, something you have, your boarding pass, which is something you know, and your fingerprint or your iris scan, something you are. You might already use MFA on websites as well and not even know it. Online, it usually means you enter your password, then a temporary code, or you touch your security key to confirm it's really you. These codes, no matter how they are generated, usually only last for about 30 seconds to a minute before they expire. Because they change so quickly and they are tied to something that you have or are, it makes them much harder to crack. Now that we know what it is and why it is so important, let's move on to step 3, which is your MFA options and the pros and cons. Let's break down your choices. So first we have SMS text messages. This is the easiest to set up, but it's also the least secure. Attackers can hijack your phone number using SIM swapping, so avoid this if you can. These are codes that are sent to your phone as a text message, and the message will usually say something like, here is your code to log in, 123456, do not share this code with anybody, or something like that. It's really good, but it's not best because an attacker could still social engineer your cell phone carrier, whether it's Verizon, T-Mobile, whoever you have your cell phone with, and say something like, my phone is lost, or it got stolen. I need to activate my phone number on a new phone. And then they will get your number transferred to a new phone, which is the attacker's phone. People overwhelmingly choose SMS because it's convenient and it looks secure. And it's not just me saying that. Yubico's data found that 41% of people think SMS is the most secure MFA method, when it's actually one of the weakest, which is a huge yikes. All right, another option you have is Authenticator apps, like Yubico Authenticator. Now these generate time-based codes that change every 30 seconds or so. They are simple, they're very reliable, and they are a lot stronger than SMS. But they are not perfect. 33% of users believe app-based codes are the safest, even though they can still be phished or stolen if someone gets access to your phone. Plenty of applications exist for this, and they are completely free. I like Yubico Authenticator because I can lock the app with a hardware key, so you can't even see the codes that get shown within the app unless you have my key to plug into the device. Other apps exist, and they can be locked with a PIN or biometrics instead of a hardware key, increasing the security of the app. These are convenient because they can be synced across devices, so you have access to your codes anywhere, but that can also increase the chances of your codes being stolen. Next, we have push prompts. Now those approve login type of notifications that pop up on your phone, you might get those on your phone or get them at an email address. It generally says something like, is this you? With an approve or deny set of buttons. They are very convenient, but they are prone to this attack called MFA, multi-factor authentication, or notification or alert fatigue attacks, where a hacker just keeps on sending prompts until you hit yes out of annoyance. Hardware keys, like YubiKeys from Yubico.com, these ones are going to be your gold standard. They are phishing resistant because they require physical possession of the actual hardware key. So even if somebody has your password, they can't do anything without the hardware key. These are physical little devices. Yeah, it looks like a little USB flash drive, but it's actually not. It's actually not a USB flash drive. This is a YubiKey, so it's completely different. They are physical devices that you plug in or tap via NFC. That's the little gold icon you see on the front. You just tap it whenever you plug it in, and that tells the computer that you're ready to go, you're ready to log in. They are nearly impossible to phish. I use mine for email, financial accounts, social media, basically anywhere and everywhere that I can. Once you have registered a hardware key with your online account, and you just do that through your settings for your online websites and different login accounts, it's really easy to use. That is because you don't need to memorize or copy and paste a code. You don't need your phone on you. You could leave your phone in another place in the room and you don't need to worry about getting a text message or anything. You don't need to type anything in. Plus, you can set up your accounts to authenticate with multiple hardware keys. So you could have a primary one on your keychain, but have another one that you keep at your desk at home. And since your phone apps and your desktop will generally keep you signed in until you restart or you get a new device or your device's login is forgotten, that means that you really don't need to keep these keys on you 24/7. I keep one on me for traveling, but it's very rare that I actually need to pull it out and re-authenticate on my phone unless I'm actively resetting all of my logins. Yay, cookies! I did a whole video about cookies. Now, even if you just use a hardware key for your most crucial apps and services, but then rely on something like codes for the rest of them, that will still save you from dealing with a ton of headaches if somebody was able to steal a password. Yubico's report found that hardware keys are the most effective defense against modern phishing, but only about 17% of companies actually use them, even though they stop account takeovers cold. Meanwhile, device-bound passkeys, like the ones stored on a YubiKey, are only seen as most secure by 30% of employees, which shows how much education is still needed. That brings us to step 4, how to choose the best MFA method. Now, not all factors are created equal, so screenshot this chart as a reference. First, you have those SMS codes texted to your phone. They are weak, they can be SIM swapped. Then you have Authenticator apps, which generate time-based codes, which are strong. Then you have push prompts, which is where you tap yes in your Authenticator app, and those are strong, but beware of those fatigue attacks. And lastly, we have hardware keys like the YubiKey, where you plug in and tap to verify, and those are going to be your strongest option. Now, you do not have to use the same method across the board for all of your accounts, and you probably won't because not all websites are going to accept the same multi-factor authentication protocol as other websites. Some websites only support one or two of those options. My method is to check over my online accounts like once a year or so to see if they have upgraded their security protocols to anything new, like passkeys. Passkeys are going to be the newest option right now. If they have not, I will just choose whichever option has the best security. Now, if a site still does not accept hardware keys or passkeys, which it's 2025, why have we not accepted those yet? Because those are going to be your most secure option. If those aren't accepted, I will choose the code method, but then I will have those codes get generated in my Yubico Authenticator app, and I will lock that app with my hardware key. So essentially, at the end of the day, I am still protecting everything with something I own and something I have, which is the physical key. So if you can use a hardware key, please do it. They are phishing resistant, they work offline. Yubico is sponsoring this video, and I have been using the YubiKeys to protect my accounts long before I created my own YouTube channel to talk about cybersecurity. I use Yubico's YubiKeys for everything from email to cloud storage. In fact, this is my personal key right here. I've used this thing for all sorts of accounts. They're tiny, they are really tough, like you can bounce this thing around, it'll be just fine, and they make multi-factor authentication nearly bulletproof. You can grab one over at yubico.com for $5 off, and I want to thank Yubico for their sponsorship of my channel. Now, better yet, you can actually find a YubiKey in Best Buy now. Keys are now available at Best Buy stores across the United States, and they come in this beautiful packaging. They're the perfect size to give to your friends and family as stocking stuffers, and you can send them this video to learn about why I love them so much. I am totally thrilled that YubiKeys are now on retail shelves because that brings them closer to consumers. And when it comes down to it, the people that I want to protect the most in my life are not working in cybersecurity. They are shopping at Best Buy. So thank you to Yubico for partnering with me on this video. I think it's so important, and I am thrilled to see that these are now available at Best Buy stores. Step number 5, turn on MFA for your key accounts and start with the big ones like email, whether that's Gmail, Proton Mail, or Outlook, wherever you have your email address at, turn on multi-factor authentication. Social media like X, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all of those also accept some kind of MFA, so turn it on there too. Banking and shopping apps. I know banking is usually kind of slow with the security online, but if they do have MFA available, make sure to turn it on. Shopping apps as well, those are important because your profile on shopping websites or your previous orders can give lots of information away about you, so you want to protect that information too. And your password manager itself. Make sure that you are protecting your vault of passwords with multi-factor authentication. Now here's the scary part. Yubico found that 29% of people do not use MFA at all on their personal email, even though that's the key to everything else that you log into. The reasons for this are either they don't understand it, 40%, they think it's too complicated, about 24% of people think it's too complicated, 22% say they don't have time, and 9% believe it's too expensive. That is why awareness and education matter just as much as the tools themselves. Now, do you want to know which accounts have MFA and 2FA available? You can check out this website. It's a very old website, but it's still relevant to this day. It's 2fa.directory. It's a searchable list of popular sites and instructions for how to enable it. And if a company you use does not offer 2FA or MFA, what did I say on the last episode a couple of days ago or a week ago? There's nothing wrong with a little bit of public shaming to a company and a quick little message to them over on Twitter/X or Threads, wherever they might be active. All right, step number 6 is passkeys, the future of login security. All right, so let's talk about passkeys because this is gonna be the next big thing. Passkeys replace passwords entirely. No more memorizing, no more typing, no more phishing. Yubico found that 45% of people have not even heard of passkeys, and just a small number actually use them. But the US is a little bit ahead of this this curve, 33% of Americans who use passkeys are already using a safer device-bound kind. So these use public key cryptography built into your device so your actual credentials never leave your phone or your computer, or in my case, a physical key. The point of this public key cryptography is to replace passwords entirely. When you log in, your device proves that you are you with a secure key pair stored locally. No password to steal, no phishing possible. You simply confirm your identity using your fingerprint, your Face ID, or a PIN, and the device handles the rest. You have probably already seen them on websites like Google, Apple, PayPal, Amazon too, and you might have even gotten asked while signing in if you would like to set up a passkey for future sign-ins. That's because these sites have already added passkey support for sign-ins. And for passkey storage, for example, they are already supported by Apple, Google, Microsoft, and major password managers like 1Password and Dashlane. But you can even add passkeys to your YubiKey, and this is going to be your safest option. So a YubiKey can act as your passkey vault and do all the heavy lifting for you. So all you have to do is authenticate via biometrics or a PIN whenever you sign in, and just make sure that you're plugging this into your computer. So if you ever see the option to sign in with a passkey, do it. They are fast, they are secure, and they are phishing proof. You just authenticate with your fingerprint, your Face ID, or a PIN, and boom, you're in. For now, most people will still use a mix of MFA and passkeys, but this is where we are heading. Step number 7, backup codes and safety nets. All right, so let's say if your phone breaks or you lose your physical hardware key, you don't want to get locked out forever. When you enable MFA or 2FA, many sites will give you backup codes. Print those out, write them down, keep them somewhere safe like a fireproof box or a locked drawer. Treat these things like the spare keys to your house. You don't want to just leave them laying around for anybody to find. Keep them secret, keep them safe. Gandalf was telling the truth. Also, a little pro tip, register a second hardware key as a backup. So buy 2 of these because that's a pro move that a lot of security folks swear by. Also, if your MFA is app-based, make sure to export or back up your codes before switching phones. Some applications like Authy offer encrypted cloud backups, and they offer multi-device syncing, and this is hecking convenient, but it's also not as secure. So if you want total control, choose one that stores codes locally only. Now, if you're questioning this process, or maybe you're a little suspicious about how secure it actually makes your accounts, I suggest watching some of the videos I have in my hardware key playlist. This whole series will give you answers to a ton of common questions, and it has multiple walkthroughs. Now, if you're finding this video helpful, a subscribe would also mean so much to me. Subscribing is a very simple and free way to support creators on YouTube. So if you're following along with the challenge, hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications so you don't miss tomorrow's video, and you can grab the full checklist and daily recap over at shannonrmorse.com. Also, a big Patreon shout out to my s'mores. You can join them and support my channel by going to patreon.com/shannonmorse for perks like early video access and my private Discord. And as usual, all the videos on my channel are free to watch, and I thank my YouTube members, my sponsors, and my patrons for making that possible. All right, let's wrap it up with some 2025 updates, modern threats, and best practices. Yes, setting up 2FA and MFA can take a little bit of time, but the payoff is going to be massive. Even if a hacker got your password, that extra step stops them in their tracks. This single layer of protection can block a huge percentage of automated account breaches. So if you only do one thing from this entire challenge, you watch all 30 of my episodes, and there's just one thing that you take away from this, even if you look at the 30-day challenge and think it's too much, just make this one thing the thing that you do. Just make it this, and I'll be happy. Phishing attacks have gone very much AI. Yubico's report says 76% of people are now worried about AI-powered hacking, up 18% from last year. And for good reason. AI makes phishing emails look painfully real. In tests, only 30% of people could tell a human-written message from AI, and 34% admitted they fell for phishing because it looked like it came from somebody that they trusted. Hardware keys and passkeys shut that down completely. They are immune to AI-crafted phishing attempts because they require real-world verification, your physical key or your biometrics. Now that is going to be it for day 14. You now know how to lock your accounts down with 2FA, you understand the differences between MFA and passkeys, and you have the tools to choose the setup that works best for your lifestyle. If this episode helped you secure your logins, hit the subscribe button, ring the bell so you don't miss tomorrow's video, and don't forget to grab yourself your YubiKey to upgrade your multi-factor authentication, because if 2025 has shown us anything, it's that outdated logins are no match for modern threats. I'll see you tomorrow for day 15. Bye y'all.